Hey everybody, Scott Weller here. We are going to do some AI art today. Probably going to do a Halloween theme as the current competition. I'm in a little bit of a, I'm going to call it AI art competition every week. And it's about 60 people or so, and it's closed, so there are no more openings. But we're going to be doing our own starting in November. So that one's going to be sponsored. We're going to have surprises. It's going to be pretty cool. And we'll outlay the rules for that coming up here soon. But before I forget, and this is like freaking important, there's a program called Rebelle 5, or Rebelle 5, however you want to say it. I put a link down in the description. It's normally about $150, and I've used it before. It's on sale for $10 freaking dollars. Go buy it, because we're going to be using that a lot when we come into working with AI art. There's a lot of really kind of cool effects you can do with it, and we're going to kind of start working on that, because I think in a lot of situations it's a really nice way to kind of augment pieces. Now, I have been using it since version 3 to actually do digital paint. I've been using that and Corel Painter and Photoshop, but I have to say Rebelle 5 is actually pretty darn cool. And I paid full price for it about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and it's on sale for $10 freaking dollars. So go buy that, because I think it's only a 10-day sale, and I think today is day 10. I just found out about this. So go buy that. It is a referral link or an affiliate link, but what's the commission on $10? Who even knows? But go buy it. Anyway, so today we're going to do Halloween stuff. So the goal here is to kind of work with the major engines, so MidJourney, Stable Diffusion, and so on. We're going to use Stable Diffusion via DreamStudio, which is their web-based product. Yes, you have to pay for it, but it's not very expensive, and you can use the newer version. So they're using the 1.5 checkpoint. If you are installing it locally, which I'm going to be doing a video on hopefully today, you can only use the 1.4 checkpoint. So this is a much better engine, and it does some other stuff. Now we're going to talk about some tips and tricks to getting the prompt that you want today. And I think this is a really important video, even if you're not into Halloween stuff, because we're going to kind of approach this in a little bit different manner than we normally do. So what I like to do is kind of start with my basics and then perfect the prompt over time. But now I want to talk about strategies for building your prompt, because there's a couple of tools out there that may not appear to be tools initially, but the way you use them, it can really kind of open up some doors. So I kind of want to start there and show you kind of my strategies for some of those things and see what you think. And feel free to leave comments as we go here. And we're just kind of get rolling with it. And I can throw out here what you think. I did take my other webcam offline. I'm going to be using that on a boom because I have some other videos I want to start to do. Probably my Saturdays, I think I'm going to do dedicated to my laser cutter, because I have a laser cutter and I keep playing with it and I keep making these kind of fun things. I just finished, well, I almost finished one of my pieces for my custom Catan board. So I made a grain piece here. It's kind of a Japanese influenced design, but that's a whole nother thing for another day. But I don't want to make a separate channel for it because I don't really have that many videos that I'm going to do on it, but it's more of one of those things that I enjoy. And I thought, hey, it's visual. We'll throw it out there. I also think it opens the door to kind of combining the two. For example, making pieces with Stable Diffusion or MidJourney, for example, and then printing them on certain things and then using the laser cutter to augment those to create sellable pieces of art. So that's something I'm going to kind of explore. And I've been doing it kind of personally, but I want to kind of make videos on that and go forward. So anyway, let's talk about this today. So you can see here, I've got the main DreamStudio. This is one we use for all the work we're going to do with Stable Diffusion, because again, we can use the 1.5 version. And they have just added clip guidance. So clip guidance is it's a neural network of imagery. And the farther down we go into clip guidance, the more accurate our prompt will be interpreted. So it's helpful to kind of, with the entire diffusion process, to get more along the lines of what you're looking for more accurately. So we should get a better image using clip guidance, but you will get a completely different image if you turn it off. So in some situations, you may prefer the other one, but it's worth trying either one. So you could try it with one way and then turn it off and see what you get the other way. And now one of the other things that one of the tools I want to talk about today that's kind of tertiary to this is the actual clip itself. So if you go here, there's a GitHub for this, and I'll have to put a link below. I didn't have one, so I didn't really think about this until earlier. But this is kind of like how clip works. So this is the data set here, and these data sets are available for you to learn for your GPU or to learn your own data sets. So these are really good examples of what is out there. So if you say, hey, I want to make a picture of a witch, for Halloween, you would go in here and you say, well, what if I type in a witch, what type of imagery am I going to get? And you can kind of see here what it's finding. And it's kind of a lot of cartoon heavy looking stuff. Now there's some that gets away from that, but in general, you're going to find this is the way that the system will work in trying to resolve your prompt. This works for anything. So any noun we put in here or any type of thing, this is what all these systems or a lot of these systems are based on if they're using these different indexes here. And you can use either one of these two. So this is a really good kind of sanity check to say, if I'm going to have something, is this a good word to use? You don't know. And just kind of throwing out there to see, hey, I'll just use the word witch in here. I'll use whatever. Will you get something you're expecting? This is that sanity check. And let me give you one more here. I didn't think about that till just now. Let me take us over here for just a second. Sorry. All my bookmarks in the world to be out there. I want to find this for you. Actually, I might do that later. I don't want to overcomplicate things here, but anyway, this is a good sanity check for that. Actually, I am going to complicate it. Screw that. I am going to complicate it because this is a really good reference, and I've made reference to this before, and it's Lexica. So Lexica looks like this. And it's all these stable diffusion pieces. And you've seen me use this in live streams before. This kind of like database of imagery that have been generated by stable diffusion. Now, not local installs, but other installs, allows us to, again, kind of query this and see what it is we're going to end up with. Now, they are not sorted by, what do I call it, amazing pieces of art. You're going to get what you get. And sometimes they're really helpful, but you kind of see it's a bit cartoony. That's fine. If you ever wonder why there are two heads, I've mentioned this before, and people keep typing like, in their prompts, one head, not two heads, it's really because the system was trained in 2 512 squares. And those 512 squares, if you have a vertical image, one that's taller, what it's going to do is try and render two different drawings on top of each other, which means you're going to get two heads, but it sees one head twice. So it's just the way that this thing works. It's just something we're gonna have to face right now until we start to get models that are trained differently. This is just part and parcel of the way it's got to work. So Lexica is very handy to use. Again, this is only stable diffusion, and again, it is not sorted or sanity checked for quality. So you can end up with something horrific in there, but and again, nudity in there too. If there's stable diffusion, if there's nudity in there, it's going to appear in here too. Whatever, but it's never going to be like gross nudity. It's just going to probably be boobs. But this is a good sanity check for your prompt to say, if I type this in, what am I going to get? You kind of have an idea because this is other imagery that has been generated. This is also a great sanity check for artists. So if you're thinking, hey, I would like to use this specific artist, I wonder what kind of imagery I'm going to get out of it. This tool will show you what it is. A good example would be Seb McKinnon. So I've used Seb McKinnon before, and if you look, it's not really good representation of Seb McKinnon's work. Seb McKinnon's an illustrator, and if you Google him and see his work and whatever, it's beautiful, but it is not this. But this engine is kind of showing you, if you type that in, this is what you can kind of expect out of the prompt, which I think is interesting. So we oftentimes make fun of Greg Rutkowski, and that's used in all these prompts, and they don't look like Greg Rutkowski's work. If you look at his work and you look at all the pieces of art that use him as a prompt, they are almost always unrelated. It's kind of bizarre how his name really could be substituted for pretty much any term, and it would turn out the same exact thing. But this can kind of give you a link to that sanity check here. I'll put this one down there. Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry. So this is Lexica. Again, I use this one and I've linked to this one before. You guys should have this one, and if you don't, you should. Another one that you're going to want if you are more of a MidJourney person is, actually, let me take that back. Let's use this library.ai as well. This one is also very good. I put links to these also on my blog, which is lightshootedit.com. I've been trying to make that a resource page where you can go to and get all that stuff. And the link is in the description for that. So if you just go there, I'm constantly keeping that up to date, but I also don't want it to be like 5,800 things long. I want it to be, here are the ones that are worth looking at, and the rest of these I'm not even going to have on there. Or if they get bad, I remove them. But this is a good one, and it's, again, giving you some more trending information. Again, these are Stable Diffusion imagery. These are not MidJourney imagery. But you can, again, use these as points of departure if you find something on here you really like and take a look and see how it was made. But we can also go up and we can ask it questions. So we can say, let's do Halloween and see what we kind of get here. And see if we can get a point of departure for that. And it doesn't look very well. Looks broken to me. It shows there's results, but we're not getting any. So that's nice. Let's go back and use other engine here. Lexica. So this is a good way to kind of start. If you're looking for a place to start rather than just kind of checking way to prompt, this is a good place. But again, sanity check this stuff. Some of these prompts in here are beyond dumb. It's like some people, they don't care about learning how to do this. They see a picture they like, they grab the whole prompt, throw it in there, and then change a few things and go, look, I made art. And it's not thought through. And like these, again, these are not what I'm looking for. Although I did see one here. This is kind of cute. Kind of. Let's go back up and search for a witch again. Well, we did Halloween. Let's do scary. Because that's the kind of stuff that I would prefer. Yeah, that's pretty messed up. So what I'm looking for here is kind of like, is there an image that is kind of cool, that is a good point of departure, and maybe we borrow bits and pieces of it. This is not a bad way to work, especially early on when you don't know a lot of prompts or you don't have a lot of good ideas on ways to go with things. This is a good tool to this. Now, if you're using MidJourney, you can actually use MidJourney to query that as well. So if you go to MidJourney and just log in, and then go to your community feed here, this is all MidJourney stuff, and this is all supposed to be like their best work. So this is more of a curated, and it's curated by everybody who's voting, from what I understand. It's curated by everyone here. So we can go up and we can say to MidJourney, give me Halloween. And see what it pops up. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to MidJourney, finding a prompt you like, and then maybe turning that into Stable Diffusion and see if we can make it better in there. Remember, everything in MidJourney is really Stable Diffusion with a flavor. MidJourney is based on Stable Diffusion. So this system has a smell and a flavor to what it does, but at the end of the day, it's all going to be the same diffusion model. But it's what you do with it and how it produces imagery and the look of it. Like, whatever magic they're doing in MidJourney, I enjoy it. I like the way that it draws things, but then I also like Stable Diffusion. And I think Stable Diffusion stuff just looks better overall, but this is a fine place to start for getting ideas. Let's look at this one, for example. So this is a good prompt. It's very distinct. It's not wasting energy. It's not coming up with bizarre bunch of terms, and the imagery is interesting. Like, I like it. And from here, by the way, you can go and you can copy the prompt. So if you wanted to, you can go back into your own Stable Diffusion, by the way. And I do have the remix mode enabled. If you don't know how to do that, you just type /settings here, and it will bring up your settings dialog, and then just click remix. And now every time we click the little variation box underneath MidJourney, it's going to pop up and say, oh, would you like to alter that prompt slightly? I did a video on that as well, and it's pretty cool. So let's try that. So let's imagine, we'll throw this out there and just kind of see what we do. And this extra comma at the end is bothering me. And we're just going to run with it this way. Now, I'm not saying to it that I want this, the test P or the test, which I think create better images over images I prefer, we'll say. It's also a square, which I don't care for. I think that most of the squares that are produced just don't look inspiring to me. But because of the new remix feature, once we get one we like, we can go and alter that now and then throw the test P in there and then maybe change the aspect ratio. It does do a bit of stretching, but I think that is probably resolved by now. When this was released, it was really new, and it's been about a week now, so a lot of this stuff has improved a bit over time. So it's not as rough as it was when it first launched, but it's good. Like, these are a little bit toyish to me. I don't really like illustrations or paintings of this style, so it's just not me. So I would probably change out Frank Rosetta for somebody else. But we're just going to we'll start here, right? This whole up arrow thing inside of Discord, I wish actually worked. It's supposed to be able to repeat your last prompt, but it doesn't quite do that. So let's get rid of Frank Rosetta here. In fact, I'm going to get rid of the whole artwork by Frank Rosetta at the beginning and move it to the end. The reason is that, and I butchered this thing up. Let's try that again. I really broke it, didn't I? The prompt is in order of importance, okay? So I know that I've mentioned that before, and I know there's a lot of other people that are doing videos on MidJourney and stuff, and I've seen a lot of misinformation coming out. And one of them is put the artist at the beginning. That is not the most important part to me. The most important part would be what comprises the image, and then the artist is at the end. And I tend to do it this way, and it works out great, and I haven't had an issue. So I'm going to get rid of the word artwork, because why? I mean, it is artwork, right? It's there. Let's put Seb McKinnon in here, just because we were picking with him earlier. And I don't want this to be just Seb McKinnon. If I do this, I'm really, even if you're not familiar with his work, I'm really just kind of making something in his style, and I don't think he's going to appreciate that. And I probably don't appreciate that either, because I want this work to be my work, right? It's to look mine. So I'm going to combine a couple artists together, because then it isn't really Seb McKinnon anymore. It's someone else. So I could actually throw Greg Rutkowski in here, because why not? It's not going to look like Greg Rutkowski's work anyway. It's going to look like Seb McKinnon and Greg had a baby, and that baby made this. So let's use Greg. What's funny is if you misspell the name, like, it'll still work, because it's not really Greg's style. It's just another artist, and it's trying to combine these things together. You've seen me, if you've watched this before, I've made up names in here. I just made up an artist, and it'll work, right? It'll take and try and figure out what it is I'm saying with that, and combine it with Seb McKinnon's work and produce something. I don't know what it's going to look like. But remember, it's an order of importance, right? From left to right. So spooky is the first thing. Gothic Mansion, Night Lightning, Red Glow, Menacing Halloween. That should be good enough. Now, once we get this, we can take it into Stable Diffusion, and we can kind of mess with that as well. By the way, there is another great resource out there. And again, this is listed in my blog. It is this thing, this monster here. And I won't link to the spreadsheet here, but look on my blog for it, because this is in my docs and not the public version. But it has all the different artists, and then if they did a portrait, and you can see the prompt. I know the prompt is in here somewhere. Just a landscape and then a portrait by that person. So if you quickly want to look through and say, well, I'm looking for a specific art style for this piece I'm working on. I'm looking for an artist. What's that artist going to look like? Like, for example, this Arthur Rackham. This is really interesting line work, a lot of great illustration, pen and ink type of stuff. I really like that. This one here. Let's see. Some of these are generic. This spreadsheet also has at the bottom other tabs. So if you're looking for artists, there's different artists down in here. There's different lightings and looks over here. So it's a pretty darn handy tab, and I use it fairly often. But I just kind of, again, use it for a quick reference guide to say, this is the type of imagery I'm looking to make, whether it's more childlike illustration type of stuff, or if you're looking for something that's a little bit more official looking. Any of them work. Like the Dean Cromwell here, I like Dean Cromwell's work. Actually, I like, let's use Eddie Mendoza for this one. So I've used him before as well, but we can go back to our original prompt here. See, this just never works. It should, but it doesn't. And put it that way. So let's go back, and you can see how much our fake artist actually helped. It got away from what Seb McKinnon's work looks like, because it's not Seb McKinnon now. It's Seb McKinnon and whoever that fake person is making stuff. All right, and let's just run with this one as well. Now, I tend to like, I photograph women. That's what I do. That's my full-time job, by the way. If you didn't know that, I'm a boudoir photographer and a body painter. That is what I do full-time for myself. I'm self-employed. I've been doing this for a while, for a few years. The whole visual imagery part of this business is what I do with the images afterwards. So if I photograph someone, then I usually take them into Photoshop and I try and make some fantastic thing with it. Well, this whole AI thing has opened a gigantic door to giving me a lot of ideas for things. And I don't pretty much use the stuff straight up. Like, I'm not a person who says, look at the art that I made from this prompt. That's not really my style. What I want to do is take something I have photographed for a client and then augment it with these pieces. So my business strategy is that. And it's that pretty simple. And I use these for ideas than I do for finished pieces of art. That's just not the way that I view it. Anyway, so this is almost done. Now we're gonna kind of start to dig into it and see what we can come up with. While we're waiting, let's take this whole prompt here and throw that into Stable Diffusion. So I'm just going to go over to DreamStudio.ai, which is the paid version. Again, it's not tremendously expensive, but you do get to use the new version. Also keep in mind, these are the same people that make the free version. So if they stop making money, that means that they go out of business, which means we don't get new versions of these things, right? So if you love making your own art and you're like, I just want to install it locally and I want to save all the money in the world, and then these people go out of business because nobody bought their stuff, well, everyone's gonna be a sad panda. So I think just buy $10 worth of it. I mean, and use it. That all helps with the funding. Now, they did just get some funding. They got out like a $1.1 million funding, and I don't know exactly the details behind it, but I just saw that they got funding, so which is great. But I think if we all kind of pitch in and help with this, obviously it's going to be it's going to grow faster and be better, quicker. And right now it's growing so quickly, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't done a video on installing locally, because it has been changing so much so fast. It is now to the part where it's very stable and haha, pun intended, and we can now install it on a machine pretty easily. Now, when I do this video, and I'll probably be later today, I'll release it. There's a couple of caveats. One is that you should have an NVIDIA GPU. If you don't, if you have an AMD, there is a solution, but it's not as pretty. And then if you have a Mac, if you have an M1 Mac, you're okay. But after or below that or before that, it's going to be tougher. It's just one of those challenges. As technology rolls along here in another month or two, that will probably change. But just be aware that if you're trying to run this locally, it's going to be rough on you if you don't meet those criteria. So this DreamStudio is what I use. Typically because it's fast, it's not expensive, and again, it's pennies per image. Like right now, I'm sitting. Well, I don't want to change this because then I lose my prompt. I'll look at it in a bit, but I've got like maybe 40 or 50 bucks in here, and that's worth 4,000 or 5,000 images. So it's not a big deal, and I know the price is actually going to be dropping soon, and they're going to be crediting people back, or at least that's kind of the rumor. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here. This new clip guidance, as I said, is pretty cool, and it will be a more accurate guide to what we're asking for. We'll try it with and without that, and we are again using 1.5, which is the new version. Up here, I tend to use 7 as my CFG. This is the how close the system will use your prompt to come up with the answer, and what they call that is classifier-free guidance. Is what that stands for. It's like if you're giving it a prompt or a token, you're asking for a specific thing, and you're saying, well, you know what, you can use that token, or you could kind of use that token. That's kind of what this is saying. And the higher the CFG is, the less wiggle room you're giving it to use the prompt. You're saying, this is exactly what I want. Please don't derivate from it. This is what I'm looking for. I, again, don't like squares very much, so I'm going to go with a little bit wider one this time. And again, you can go up to 1024 square with this, but you're going to pay more. So I'm paying 2.1 credits per image. Again, I've got maybe 5,000 or 6,000 images or credits in here. That's, I mean, again, it's not expensive. And I'm looking to create one good piece of art. Now, if you're in MidJourney and you put it into its relax mode, which you see I am in, and you just type /relax to do that, by the way. That will put it into the relax mode, and you can basically generate images for free all month long. As long as you're paying that $30 a month fee, you can do this and you won't really accrue anything. Now, fast and relax are very close in speed. So I just leave it in relax all the time and not really ever worry about whether or not I'm, using credits, because I'm not. Now, is it slower? Maybe, but I don't notice it. All right, so let's look at this. So we've got these, before we go back, actually, yes, one thing at a time. We'll do this first, and then we'll go back to Stable Diffusion. Which ones do I like? I think this one is really interesting. So let's do this one. So if I click on it, or if I go down here and do 1, 2, 3, 4, this is V4, and click on it, now it's going to pop up the prompt and say, how did you want to alter it? This is where I'm going to say I would like it to be test P, test and test P. Test P is more photographic and test is not, but it's using their new kind of algorithm for things. So test P, and then I would like a square or a non-square aspect ratio. So we're going to use 3:2. So that'd be 3 wide and 2 tall. So we should get more of a horizontal image, a landscape image, which I prefer. So we're just going to hit that and see what kind of hilarity happens. Now, because it is not square, we're only going to get 2 options usually instead of 1, because you only get 4 options if you're not using any aspect ratio other than square. Now, the test and test P make it so you only get 2 options as well. Now, because we're using 1 as a variation, we're only going to get 1. So I'm okay with that. I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, this is how it's going to work, and it's fine. And you'll notice that these derived images always work a lot faster than just a raw prompt. So if you're starting over, it takes a bit. But if you're doing one of these, I'm just doing a variation request or an upscale, it's usually a lot faster. And again, this is in relaxed mode, and it took no time at all. So this is what we got, and it's fine. Let's roll it again and see what happens. I'm a big fan of hitting that re-roll button. There's, again, no cost. You can queue a bunch of these things. So if this is going, let's do another variation here. But let's get rid of this red glow. I just think it's, let's do with an eerie glow. Oh, that's not how you spell eerie. I didn't even know how to spell the word eerie. I don't spell. I'm broken in the head that way. Let's do a blue glow. It's one of the things I cannot do. I cannot spell, which my wife thinks is really funny. As a physicist before this, I never had to spell as a physicist. And Andrew Jackson said it's the unoriginal man who can only think of one way to spell a word. So let that go for me. So we look at these. Let's go back here and let's start this thing. And I'm going to do a few. 50 steps is fine. And I'm going to do for these. Film Factory, how you doing? And Nova Omega, welcome. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for coming in and sitting with me while you watch me make some sort of art stuff. We got some bats going on here like this. I like the glow here. This is nice. Let's roll it again until we get one we really love. And I don't know if we're going to get one we really love, but this is looking pretty decent. Let's go back over here. All right, so this actually looks pretty good too. I don't like that red glow. So we're gonna get rid of that. Let's do just get rid of it altogether. Menacing that. Yep, Nova Omega says once you've got what you want in here, you can drop the test P in the aspect ratio to get back to 4:4 and then kind of keep deriving. Yes, that's absolutely true. In fact, let's demonstrate that because that is another way to kind of dig. Once you've got something you like, you can continue to variate it, but now we'll end up with 4. That's a great idea. And one I have done, I have to say though, I really use, it's interesting too, is that these changes, once you've worked in test P or an aspect ratio like that, are not as aggressive. So when you're working in the 4x4 grid, you'll typically be able to manipulate it a lot easier using the remix capability. It's just one of those weird things. Really love any of these. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna go back to the top and let's re-roll this entire thing. I'm not real jazzed with any of this. Let's get rid of, well, let's just re-roll it again. Well, that's the one with the that's the one with the red glow. Let's do this. Let's get, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to word volumetric in here. The volumetric adds a bit of a fog, so more of a, like as things move away from the camera, they get foggier, which I really enjoy. We'll do that. The kind of hilarity goes with that. These other ones are coming up. They're okay. Let's go back in here. Oh, there we go. These are looking pretty interesting, aren't they? I really kind of like this one. but it's a bit too illustrated for me. So let's go and put photograph at the beginning. And again, let's roll it again, and let's go back to MidJourney here. So we're just kind of working in both platforms at the same time. Oh, see, I like these. I already really like the color scheme of these a little bit better. And some of these are interesting terms, like throwing the word menacing in there, I think is really interesting. Like, let it kind of do some interpretation there. I like words like that that are thrown into these prompts. I find it very interesting to see how it resolves the word menacing. This one is pretty decent. Roll that one. And again, let's roll that with a test P on here and change the aspect ratio again. This. Zoom in. You're kind of addicted to creating AI imagery. You need have over 2,000. You need rehab. Yeah, I have a lot as well, especially once you get into a local install. So here's what I do. I find a prompt that I really like, and it's producing good images almost every time. Like if I were into creating haunted mansions, I'm probably really jazzed about this prompt right now because I'm like, oh my God, these look so good. That's awesome. What's really cool is once you get the local install done, then you can do, well, I'm going to let this thing run all night long, and I would like 500 of them. And then you get up next morning and you look through and you cull through them and go, nope, nope, yep, nope, nope. And just keep going. And you'll end up with 5 or 10, maybe 50 that you absolutely blew the doors off. And you're like, wow, these are beyond my expectations. And that's really satisfying when you do that. All right, so let's go back in here. So these look a little bit more interesting, don't they? Aspect ratio is a little weird. It's cutting my house off here a bit. Again, this combination of artists may not be what I'm enjoying right now. Let's use Seb McKinnon and Geiger, for example. H.R. Geiger, if you're not familiar with him, which you should be. You've seen the Alien movies. He's the guy who designed the alien and the insides of the ships and the eggs. And he actually had a really fantastic part in what was going to be a Dune movie, starring Orson Welles. And it was like, I forget the name of the director, but it was like a big deal, and Geiger was going to do all the House Harkonnen stuff. It was going to be pretty cool, but it never came to fruition. There's actually a movie that came out that was about the making of it, but all right, so this is actually pretty cool. Like, I really like this one. So let's start our upscale process now and see what we can get with it, and then let's take it and we're actually going to kind of hybrid the two of these things together today. I thought that would be kind of a fun thing to try. I'm still not super happy with this combination of, so let's drop Seb McKinnon here and go with Geiger. And let's go back to our big spreadsheet here. See who else we have. Again, just looking at the pictures and see something that kind of meets your visual guide for what you're liking here. I like this one, so Hubert Robert. And again, I'm not going to use just one artist. I think that's kind of insulting. Because you're basically just stealing their look. Okay, so Gustav Dore. Let's try it. A good idea. Andrew Jakowski. Oh, that's right. Yes, Jarodowski. Yes, yeah. That was the Jarodowski's Dune. That's right. That was the name of it. I kind of wanted to see it. I never did. I'm going to remove the word photograph up here first, because it may remove the photograph or the style of that artist or combination of the artists. Remember, photograph is kind of like an artist. I kind of wrap my head around it that way to say, if I say 4K, Unreal Engine, Octane Render, things like that, those are artists really, because Octane Render has a look, as does Hubert Robert. So when you're using those words, don't think of them like you're compounding them. Think of them like, think of them like you're compounding them. You're adding all those things together. You're saying, I want Hubert Robert, and I want it to look like it was an Octane render of Hubert Robert's work, right? That's the way to look at it. So those prompts all work together, but it's the people that I see that just slap like 50 artists at the end of this, like it's magic, and not bothering to understand what it is they're doing. That makes me shake my head. So do I like the look of this? I kind of do. And let's do, we're just speaking of Octane. Octane render. What would be backwards if I put painting, say oil on canvas, and then put octane render? Like, what is that? Well, it's going to produce something, but more than likely, the painterly part of that is just going to get stomped out. So you're almost wasting time by putting stuff like in there. That just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like I see people who do like rim lighting, split lighting, Rembrandt lighting, and then ring light all in one prompt. I'm like, what are you exactly asking for? You've asked for 4 different, completely different ways of lighting something. And at the end, you throw dynamic lighting. Or the other one I see is really funny is detail. Hyper detail, super detail, extremely super high detail. I'm like, yeah, I think you got it. I think you got it. You just need to put it once. And it is not a bad prompt to put in there, but don't go overboard with it. I mean, you don't really need to do that. Let's do highly detailed. That's nothing wrong with that one. But have a reason behind what you're doing. I really kind of like this one here. Oh, I really like this one actually. I'm not looking at the picture. I'm looking at the style of the picture. And I'll show you why in a second. Oop, I totally misspelled the word render at the end there. That's why this is looking a little special. Yeah, misspellings do matter. And again, when we saw earlier when we were playing with artists and you could really kind of make an artist up, it's just guessing what that artist's work looks like and then producing the desired result set. So this should be hopefully something that I'll like. Okay, this is good. Yeah, this is really decent aside from the stupid looking bats. But here's what I want to do. I'm going to go back to this, and I really like this one here. So let's upscale this one real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to drag them into Stable Diffusion. Wow, that is loading so slow. Save this image as, fuck this somewhere. Up. Put it. And now we'll go back to Stable Diffusion. And let's go to the editor and upload an image. Grab. Just had. And this I know they're working on this performance piece here to make it so these don't suffer or slow this this whole thing down a bit, but for now they do. They warn you about it anyway. All right, so we're going to do the exact same prompt, but we're going to use this image as our point of departure. And let's pull it down to like maybe 40% and just kind of see what it does. I mean, why not? Go back here to our, oops, Stable Diffusion, and let's grab this one. Yep, same thing. Pull that into save spot. Back to DreamStudio. But it produced. So what it does is it uses the piece that we uploaded, the image we uploaded, and then it uses this prompt to guide it further. So if you find something you really like and you're like, wow, this is, I kind of want to take this and want to augment it, this is where you would start. And I don't know if this is like the greatest example because it is kind of dark. I was trying to find something a little bit lighter. Let's take this to the next level. Let's go and find something that we think is so disturbing here. You know what? I kind of want to produce. Let's start over. Let's go back to MidJourney, and instead of doing a house, let's get into my kind of stuff. I'm a big Cthulhu fan. I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan. If you don't know who that is, you need to read At the Mountains of Madness. That's a fantastic book. There's also The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, which is also very good, which was actually just redone as a BBC4 podcast. The story is told as if it was through 2 podcasters who are the investigators in the story. So it's like a modernized version, and it is fantastic. That whole thing is really good. So let's do that. Let's just do Cthulhu. So he's going to be, actually, let's do this a little more arcanely. Let's use Hastur. So Hastur is The King in Yellow, which is another book from like the 1800s. I think influenced H.P. Lovecraft's storytelling quite a bit. Very unsettling type of imagery around that. So if we just do Hastur, for example, and roll with it and kind of see what we end up with, we should get a person in yellow and a lot of tentacles and that kind of thing. So that's how that works. Yeah. And I like these because they're just interesting. Like you never really kind of know what you're going to get, but it will always be unsettling. because that's the style of that book. Really dig this kind of stuff. So, okay, here, someone's giving me an idea here. I don't even know how to say that name, but let's check it. So let's go to Lexica. Oops. Yeah, that's nice. Very nice. So, yeah, let's take a look here. Yeah, interesting prompt. I do like this. Let's borrow that. Nice call. Yeah, some of these are very good. They have a link. I'll look to them for sure. I like that kind of pen and inky type of look. Yeah, very nice. Let's go back in here. Oh, we were in here. All right, so yeah, that's pretty weird. So let's go back and imagine again. So we don't want a biomechanical portrait of a man. We want sure. So interesting combination of artists here. And he did not get the one you mentioned. Complex. Okay. Stunning. All right. Realistic skin color. Well, let's get rid of that. This was 4K. So 4K is a look. It has a kind of a clean, a little bit more aggressive depth of field. The 8K has a very aggressive depth of field. So kind of look at it like that. That's kind of what you're asking for. We have high res. All right. Not really. Just what does that mean? Award winning. Okay. But whose award? Masterpiece. Okay. I get it. Realistic lighting. What does that even mean? Let's do dramatic lighting, right? I guess realistic lighting means that it's just not flatly lit or illustrated, perhaps. It's something like that. There's a game called Scorn. The whole book on H.R. Geiger, and I don't know how to say that guy's name. Really, I'll check that out. Thank you for the information. You guys are a wealth of ideas today. I appreciate that. That's the fun part about doing these live streams. I could just sit here and do this by myself, but it's more fun if it's a creative process with us. We all benefit from it. Get to watch me mess up and try and spell things that I should be able to spell but can't. I actually figured out how to spell it, by the way. It took me a minute. And then we'll take these and we'll get something and we'll take it into Stable Diffusion and kind of see what else we can do with it. I like MidJourney for its creative, you want to call it imagery. It has a great way of making a whole epic scene that's just really unique and interesting. But I think the look of Stable Diffusion is my preference. So creating it in here and then taking this into Stable Diffusion for the next pass has kind of become one of my more common methods of creating. I just end up with something I prefer at the end that's more interesting to me. But the Stable Diffusion implementation process seems to be not as satisfying. You know, being able to get 4 images like this is pretty cool. But again, if I'm using a local install, which I do, you get as many as you want. You can get several hundred overnight, which is fantastic. But it's that cost to do so, which is usually the problem. Here, let me show you guys what I've been working on while we're waiting. I have seconds here. Grab my other screen. Zero now. But I've been doing a couple different projects, mostly just trying to create some more Halloween type of imagery. I was doing some witches for a while. Actually, I don't even have the witches in here now. 362 witches so far. Some of them are better than others. Where are we? Like these. And these are just the rough ones that have come out. And now I need to take these and upscale them and kind of do some additional stuff to them. But these are all ones that I ran overnight and just kind of went, wow, this is really good. I love this doll with the eye. Very satisfying. And if you guys watch my live stream, I actually played with this one the other day and we used one of the eyes out of here. I ended up redoing this one, by the way, because I came up with a more interesting way to do it. But I actually didn't end up posting it anywhere. I kind of did it for fun. A lot of these times are just satisfying for me to sit down and make some art, and it's fun. I got a lot of people who are like, they're like, well, you know, what's the benefit of AI if you can't paint? Like, what's the thing? You know what? It's fun. It's just fun. So, you know, climb all over me because I'm having fun, I guess is the fault what I'm guilty of. All right, so which one of these do we like? I think I like this one the most. So let's pull this one up and let's add our magic to it. So we'll test P to make it more photographic. And the aspect ratio would be 2:3, which is the same as my Sony a7R IV, and it's vertical. It's a portrait. So we'll run with that. That should be that. And while that's working, let's go and take this prompt and bring it over to Stable Diffusion here. Get rid of our mansion. And I need to clear this editor. I keep telling them they should put the commands for this editor right here. Because, I mean, you only use, you know, this button and this slider. So having to go to the editor and then come back again is kind of annoying. There we go. Let's run with that. Oops, I should run with that, the portrait. See what happens with landscape. Yeah, this is fun. There's a lot of people, they're getting all excited about this like it's some sort of problem. I'm like, it can be fun, people. Get off your high horses. So let's do 512 by 704, 768. If we do this, we're risking rolling multiple heads, okay? It's just something that's going to happen, potentially. And let's see what's over here. Interesting. You can see we had a big alteration in the image when it shifted, but I still like it. Let's upscale. Actually, we can just run with it this way. So we'll borrow this. Save this. Go back here. And let's... Oops. These were the images. I didn't even take a look at them. They're okay. I think the imagery from MidJourney is more interesting. As I said, for point of departure, MidJourney tends to satisfy me a little bit more. Although these things changing so quickly every day, who knows where it's going to be in a couple months. I mean, it's so fast how this stuff is evolving, and I love it. Okay, so we're going to dream with this as our edit. So it's going to use this prompt to further augment the image that we brought over from MidJourney. So again, using MidJourney to kind of do the heavy lifting, and then using Stable Diffusion to kind of fix it. You can see that we don't have that kind of gooey texture that MidJourney likes to sprinkle all over thing. It's just as it is, and this is actually pretty decent. So I'll pull that one down. So kind of making scary images. Like who knows what is going on over here, but again, pretty cool. Let's roll it again, but let's go back in the editor and we'll pull the strength down to maybe 30%. So it's guiding. We'll have a bright spot. We'll have probably a figure, and then we'll kind of go and see what's happening. So you know, it says when he's out of his house and he's on his phone, he can continue generating images. Yeah, using Discord on your phone. I mean, well, and this is also based on web. So I mean, you can sit there and make stuff on the web this way. It's all good. Oh, this one's... It's almost a Peter Moorbacher type of look. I'm a big Peter Moorbacher fan. You guys have heard me talk about him before. He's great artist. And I've been a fan of his for years. I've been one of his Patreons as well. I have a bunch of decks of cards by him and some other art. I support the artists that I like, right? That's, I guess, the takeaway here. Support the artists that you like. That's kind of messed up, isn't it? I like this type of disturbing imagery. I'm not a person who's like really big into the gore thing. I'm not really big into the whole axe murdery kind of thing. I prefer the more arcane, that type of thing is satisfying to me. This one is really cool. So let's take this one, throw that in the editor. That's what that button does. But let's go back down in here and add Peter Moorbacher. To this whole list here. And again, if I don't know who this is or what they do, I would just go up to Lexica and type it in here and see what we get. what type of imagery has been produced using this person's name or images that this thing thinks is that person's name. So you can kind of see this textural drawing kind of thing. So that's a little sanity check. Wayne Barlow. What's Wayne doing these days? Look. Okay. And these are okay. This I could probably lose Wayne here. Rembrandt, we should all know. This one, which was you guys turned me on to, and then we've got Peter here. So let's, and then again, 4K, kind of an artist. I do want to add the word volumetric in here. I like that one. I use that one a lot. Let's just face it, I use that one a lot. Now, all these artists, again, I tend to put this at the end just to kind of keep myself organized. This is the way that I prefer it. Commas don't do anything, okay? Now, with clip guidance in, that may or may not be true. Like clip guidance, because it is more accurate to our prompt, it may actually look at commas for separating of ideas. I don't know. I haven't played with it enough. In the past, it has done absolutely nothing. It is not going to influence your prompt. It is just noise. Think of everything in here as a noise modifier. So adding extra spaces. Same thing, adding extra commas, adding lots of dots. I've seen people do some really ridiculous stuff thinking, well, if you capitalize all the words, then you get this. You will get a different image because the noise is a little bit different, but that's really all you're doing. Let's roll with that one. See what hilarity we get. Very Peter Moorbacher. Yeah, I love that one. That's cool. Now what's on, this is where I would start to kind of perfect this. So after P. Moorbacher, we've got bodies on the ground, because we're seeing the kind of silhouette of what we're looking at, right? There looks like there's some bodies on the ground, like right in here. So let's just tell it, yeah, those are bodies on the ground. And what is this person holding? Holding an orb. Well, it looks like they're holding an orb now, but let's just do it again. Let's throw this one into the editor and then roll it again. So we're taking it at 30% strength, taking our prompt and saying, now take that image, use as a guide, and try and perfect it by making these things a little bit more interesting. It is taking a big step backwards now. Gotta be careful here. What did we screw up? So let's back up. Let's put bodies on the ground up in front of the artist. And whenever it gets so contrasty like that, I think that I've done something in my prompting you be careful about. Let's back up a bit. Maybe my overreaction to moving those artists to the end was a problem. So let's do that again. You never know. Sometimes you'll find some little quirk. You know, I always put my artist at the end, but yeah. So I'm getting a lot of big contrast with this now. So let's go back to the editor and up the strength of this. See, I love the remix capability of MidJourney, but you've been able to do that in here for a long time. Very interesting. Roll. Clear our seed here. And roll with 4 more in. Let's kind of get something a little bit different. Pretty cool. I'm very happy with these. These are very different. Oh, I really like that one. See, this has just got so much good storytelling to me. This is the kind of thing that I would take, we put it in Photoshop, and I will go and, yeah, there's a seed in there, and I didn't notice I clicked it earlier. You're right. I can take, and I can go into my studio, and I can grab one of my models and say, light her this way, and then use her body in this shot. So photobash it together. Can't do that on YouTube, unfortunately. A little bit too much nudity, but Yeah. All right, so let's take this, but let's go back to the editor now since I figured out what my problem was. It was that I clicked on the image and got the seed in there. I'm sure they will have the testing with wider aspect ratios at some point. Also very good. I like that one quite a bit. Let's load this one in as our edit. Figure the seed, and I'm going to add yeah, let's run epic scene. I use epic scene quite a bit. That tends to add a little bit more kind of storytelling to what's going on. You can also use cinematic scene or cinematic. I found that also works pretty well. Again, use your tools up here to sanity test what you're doing. If you use the word epic scene, what type of imagery you're going to get. And you can see it tends to be a little bit more detailed if we get rid of all the memes. I tend to like these a little bit better. Find interesting. You can always mix and match your looks, right? So if you find a look that you really love, like this one, is there anything in here that's cool? Epic lighting, okay, maybe. Crazy atmosphere, that's very creative. I think that's pretty cool. Let's try the use of cotton. That is very creative. Really, a lot of nice, interesting looks with this one. That's a pretty cool idea. Let's add crazy atmosphere in here. And we're going to lower the strength of this down again to 30. So it has a lot of room to move. This is kind of my whole way of getting in, figuring out what I want to make image-wise. So I've got a Halloween competition. I've got to come up with something I really love. And I don't know that I love any of these yet, but we're going to find one we love. I think let's roll. I like the composition with the single figure, the stuff in the front. Very satisfied with that. Now I just need to have that wow factor that suddenly you're like, oh my God, that is an amazing image. Like that's what I need next. This is really interesting. Not my jam, but interesting. Also very cool. Oh yeah, that's real. Oh, that is much better. That's very king in yellow, by the way. That's a very good. Yeah, pretty disturbing stuff. But once we get something we like, then we can take and run with it. So if we have this image here and we like it, let's go and alter this. So we keep using the same prompt against the same image. We don't have to do that. So let's get rid of Hastur and let's put Dracula. Cool. And leave everything else the same and see what we come up with. This is where it's fun. You just kind of chillax, come up with something cool. Again, when I find something I like, I'm going to take it into Photoshop and we're going to mess with it. We're probably not going to do that today. I'm running a little bit long. I got a little long-winded on my discussion of how I find stuff. I love the crowd in the background. It's really cool. I would need to fix all this stuff on the inside here. And we can actually do in-painting in here as well. If we find something that we like and we want to mess with it. Again, another capability that we really don't have inside of MidJourney. So let's go with this one, for example. We can load this into the editor. And then inside of here, we can say that we want to get rid of all this stuff down in here. Have it try again with just this area. Try clear this. We'll find out. It looks terrible. Let's run with 4 images there. And why does it look airbrushed? I think it's just a choice of artist that we have, because sometimes it doesn't look that way. It looks different. Oh yeah, Silent Hill. What a fantastic movie. Really love that movie. Let's throw that in there, right? Let's get rid of Dracula. Silent Hill. In fact, let's just start over with this entire... let's clear the editor and kind of go back. That is a great idea. I'm a huge Silent Hill fan. So let's get rid of the word beautiful in there. And again, oil, it's an oil painting, but I've got all these artists here. So in a way, the word oil painting is redundant. So Silent Hill. So we know Silent Hill imagery if we go up to here. Type in Silent Hill. Oops. Hill. We should get, yeah, scenes from the movie. A little bleak, so laminar space type of stuff. So let's just go Silent Hill, and what happens there? Very interesting idea. Great movie. I should go watch that today. Throw in another monitor, see what kind of thing happens. You're working on a Silent Hill image right now. That's awesome. We got some stuff going on here, don't we? That's pretty cool. I mean, it's not unrelated to Silent Hill at all, but it's a neat image. That's more Silent Hill-like. And we've got, roll it again. Well, let's start dropping some artists here. Let's get rid of Rembrandt. I don't really need him. This guy is more the pencil sketchy kind of guy, so let's drop him. Peter Moorbacher, who's going to cause it to be more of a tall image, because most of his imagery is tall like that. So this type of, if you look at his stuff, these three are very Peter Moorbacher type of layout. So if you remove him, that should give us less of a zoomed out feel, like he likes the taller figure. So Silent Hill by this guy, and we want to mix something in there. So let's do Seb McKinnon again. We should throw Greg Rakowski in there just because Greg Rakowski. Yeah, there you go, Greg. We had to have you in the show today, right? It's been a while. I completely understand why the guy gets frosted, by the way. I mean, I joke about it, but I get it. Like, if you're making work that looks just like his work, that's, you know, I would be mad too. This one's actually about the only one there that I like. Let's change the width. Try that, just to kind of mix it up a bit. See what happens. Just working with something. But I'll have a local install video here done soon. It's very easy to do now, and it's good, consistent results. Well, that is really great. Look at that. I like that one a lot. That's awesome. That's just awesome. So let's keep that seed. Let's throw this one in the editor. Yeah, that's really messed up. Let's use this at like 70% and do it again. 4 of them. Kind of perfect our stuff a bit here. I saw there's a Silent Hill 2. I own it. I actually haven't never watched it. I really like the first one so much. I figured it's like The Matrix. I wish they would have made sequels to The Matrix, but pity they never did. Oh, that is just great. Messed up. I was going to pull all these down. So these 2 buttons here, this pulls it down as a zip file for all of them. This pulls down each one individually. More like what I would prefer. Those are pretty cool. Let's do it one more time. Let's pull this down. So well, I should pull it way down, 40%, and see what happens. By the way, if you like this, click the like button. It helps me get the word out. And thank you to all the people who support the channel. Let's show that. Because without you folks, obviously, I couldn't do this. We don't make a ton of money through advertising here, so you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you. And Galia Sanders, especially $100 a month, girl, you are rocking it. Really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Okay, how are we doing here? These all look pretty good. I think I like the first ones better. But I want to roll one more time, and I think that's gonna be good. I'm really happy with that. Oh, Silent Hill 2, the game. Yeah, that would be great. I have, I'm still working my way through Elden Ring though, so I have actually not had much time to play games recently. The Satisfactory version just came out, and I still haven't even played that really. I don't like these as much as I did we had a little bit ago. Like they're just kind of more storytelling was going on. And I think we downloaded that one, so we're all good to go. But yeah, like this one. I really like this one. It's just kind of weird, totally weird, exactly the kind of imagery that I like. It's not gory, it's just like very weird kind of stuff. What are you guys saying here? No idea the remix function was available until today. Yeah, that's it has just come out last week. I did a quick video on it, so there's a video on the channel there on the remix feature. But again, it's helpful. But once you reach that, once you do that test P kind of thing, the nuances become a lot harder to get across if you're making changes to the prompt. So what I'd suggest you do is remove the test P, drop back to the four up, work on your prompt, and then start again upgrading one that you really love. So that's really the kind of way to find the better image in there. I think that there's obviously it's new, so we just got to wait and kind of see what happens here. Let's remix this one. I like this one. So I do really like the composition capabilities of MidJourney. I think a little bit overstable diffusion. So whatever magic they're doing in the background there makes me happy. No matter. If you're satisfied with it. King in Yellow. There's a really, I can't remember the name of the book, specifically the one where it's an artist. And it's a short story. It's like an hour, not even an hour. There's a podcast that was done of it too. But I cannot remember the specific story. It's about an artist who's painting a woman, and he looks out a window and he sees a very bizarre figure on the street, and hilarity ensues. From that point forward, I cannot remember the name of it, but it's a great book. Wow, that is really great. I really like that. Yeah, I think I might actually end up keeping that one and maybe pulling that into Stable Diffusion. Let's try that. We can actually do it with this version because we don't want to go with a really big one because Stable Diffusion tends to choke. This DreamStudio, they're still working on the ability to upload big imagery and have it not die. So let's do this. Hey, let's run with this, but let's run the Silent Hill Histoire. The Hastur edition of Silent Hill. Throw 4 of these out there. See what happens. Let's turn off clip guidance. And clip guidance is supposed to be more accurate, but I think I like the playfulness of the AI, and that's really. I have no idea what's going on there, but that is very Silent Hill-esque. So is this one. These were more like skulls than bowling balls. Would probably make more sense. Put the word skulls in there. Keep this seed and dream it again. Dream it with 4 of those. Actually, when you mark the seed, once you change it to multiple images, you lose the seed. Back this up. Let's take this one and load it in the edit. Roll 4 of those skulls. Yeah, it's all fun. It's all good. So I've been gone a lot. I'm actually flying to Portland next week. So if you're in Portland and you want to see me live, not doing this, but doing photography, I'll be in Portland, Oregon, I should say. And I got a bunch of other appearances coming up, but I'll be home for a little bit so I actually get some videos done because I have been so busy. So now I'm actually calming down a bit. So get to see me a little bit more often. I apologize for being gone for a bit. Everyone's been supporting the channel. You guys have been super patient. If you are supporting this channel, make sure you send me an email because I have no way to reach out to you to give you the Dropbox link. So I have a huge amount of textures that I have been painting over the years, and you get access to all those, and you can use them for whatever you want. Just don't sell them, but you can use them to add to your own AI artwork and make it your own. You know, instead of just using whatever this stuff handed to you, you come up with your own imagery. I think it looks like some sort of a Thanos scene. I think I like this one the best. We'll load that into the editor. Oops, into the editor. Roll 4 of those. And kind of perfecting my prompt as I'm going. I could obviously go in and draw specifically what I want to in here, but using that stable diffusion look satisfies me. That's pretty pink and yellow. I just use the word nice for that. That's how do I recharge myself creatively? The thing is, it's variety, right? So, oh, I like that one. It's all about variety. So like when I'm done here, I have 2 photo shoots I have to edit. So the Boudoir, I work a lot with women who have breast cancer diagnosis. So they come in, they get photographed, do like a big book for their husband, and then before they go into the knife. So all those books have to get retouched and sent out, and I like to do them very quickly so that the client has maybe not their final images, but they have seen the images before they go to the surgery, because we don't want them crying afterwards. So that's just, it's hard emotionally on them. So I have to get that done. And once that's done, that's work. That's the job. I make soap for my clients. So I give them all soap. It's kind of like a gift. So I make soap. I have some stuff that's 3D printing. I designed some legs to hold down my laser. So I have an X-Tool D1 Pro, and the laser would wander around the table. So I made some feet for it, and I put those on Etsy, and I've been selling them like mad. So that's kind of fun. Completely unintentional, like stumbled across it. And my wife's like, what are you doing? You were running a little factory in the garage? I'm like, oh, apparently I am. Because I just put one out there. Somebody's like, can you 3D print these for me? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'll throw them out there. And I sold out in like an hour. And they take like 15 hours to print. I'm like, holy crap. So I do things like that. I don't watch TV at all. We don't have cable. I watch movies, and I usually watch them on another monitor. So I really don't pay much attention to shows. Although I need to watch, I have to finish Breaking Bad. I know I should have finished it by now, but I'm still working my way through that one. And there's a couple other ones that I'm excited to see. But yeah, that's how I kind of recharge myself creatively. It's a matter of I don't know, working in different mediums. Like I've been playing with Rebelle 5, and painting with that has been super satisfying. Again, it's $10, and I think that sale ends today. The link is in the description. It's $150 normally. It's their 10-year anniversary, so they put it on sale for $10. That is a dumb number. Like, I don't know who in their marketing thought that was a good idea. Why are you selling it for $10? You could sell it for $50, and it's still a freakishly good deal. We'll buy it. It's if that sale is even still going. Like, I don't even know if it's still going. Let's go look. We'll look super fast here. It is still going. Yeah, it's $10. Go freaking buy it. There's a link in the description. It is well worth your money. I mean, I've spent $10 in way dumber ways. Anyway, that's yeah. You guys gave us a lot of really good ideas today. I like these Silent Hill images, are pretty cool. I love how it knows these are Silent Hill images, even though it doesn't contain the word Silent Hill in here. Pretty cool. Very, very good. Very happy with I'm very happy with a bunch of these. Like, this one's pretty good. I may take this into Photoshop and mess with it a little bit to make it my own. But overall, like, that's very much Hastur. That's this here. I'm gonna get the name of that specific story, that podcast, and put it in my community feed. So here on YouTube, we have the ability to type like posts, their text posts. I'll put the name of that story. And there's a podcast that was read, and it was a great story. Really loved it. And it kind of turned me on to this whole thing. It was like written in late 1800s. Really, really interesting stuff. But that's kind of what I have for today. It was just me, sitting around and I was like, I haven't done a live stream in a while because I've been traveling. And then I had a bunch of shoots this last week. Because as the colors are changing, I shoot a couple high school seniors each year. So high school senior photos have to be done. And the timing on those, I have a couple more coming up this next week. And then the leaves are gone and it's freaking cold outside. So a lot of that will slow down. And then we'll move back into the studio. So I'll probably end up doing some videos in the studio as well. I know I'm kind of doing the heavy AI art thing, but I am a photographer and I started the channel that way. And I don't want to lose that. So I want to combine the two. As I said, I think it's a wonderful hybrid opportunity for both these image mediums to exist together and play nicely together. And I think I really want to keep doing that on the channel. And again, the laser cutter and some of these 3D printer things I do, I don't want to turn the channel into one of those things, but I may do one day a week where I talk about that specific area. Because again, I think that 3D, that laser cutter has some opportunity with AI art. There's a lot of opportunity there. So, well, hey, I appreciate you guys hanging in here. I really appreciate it. As I said, I'd just be sitting here by myself. I need to get that done for that competition. And I'm pretty happy with that image. So thanks for hanging out with me. Again, if you liked the video, I appreciate it. It's like, I think 1 out of every 100 users bothers to click the button. So if you take a moment to just click that button, it's like you're clapping so that other people know, hey, that didn't suck. Let's go watch it. But that's what I have. You guys, everybody, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys all next time.